What's good, YouTube? This is Cam chilling back again with another video. And first things first, Cameron, where in the world have you been? It has been 2 weeks since you have posted a video. What keep you? I will explain. So if you guys have been following along through each video I have uploaded, I always posted my social media down in the description box, just like this one that you're watching here right now. I always put my Instagram, my Snapchat, and my Twitter account in my description box. Now, normally I don't post a lot in any of my social media like Instagram and Snapchat. But there was one post that I put in my Instagram story, and that was because there was a week where I have to focus on exams. It was an exam week. Now, I didn't have any exams anyway. I only have like project and assignments that I had to do. But still, it was still a lot of work. It was still very stressful. Here we are. So that's why I haven't been able to upload anything from 2 weeks from now. But last week, some has happened, and I'm about to show you. Your boy has graduated. That's right. He has finally got the job done. Wow. Wow. Yo, daddy. Wow. But yeah. Your boy has finally graduated from college. So now I am no longer in my dorm room. I am now back at home. No longer need to worry about any stress at all when it comes to tests, what if it's exams, what if it's homework, whatever that is. Done with that. Good riddance. But it was also a good time over at Whitewater there anyway, especially with a lot of experience that I had. It was a great experience. Got to be able to meet a lot of good people, made a lot of good friends, and I'm very, very thankful that I get to have this opportunity to go up there. It was just an amazing time. But anyway, that's not what this video is all about. I'm not being all emotional like, I'm gonna miss going to Whitewater. I'm gonna have a great time. That's not what this is about. Obviously, you guys already see it in the title. I'm gonna be doing a recap for the Packers' domination against the Seattle Seahawks from last night, 30-13. And boy, this might be one of the best games I have seen from this Packers team this season, especially on the defensive side. Now, we're going to switch things up a little bit because normally I would go through the offense, specifically starting at the quarterback and Jordan Love and going through the running backs and such. But this time, we're going to talk about the defense first because that's where I was most impressed. So let's start with this Packers defense. And boy, I was extremely impressed with this defense. Very. Especially with our pass rush. Now you can say that the Seahawks offensive line has been very, very bad throughout the season. But if you look at this Packers pass rush and you've been paying attention to them throughout probably most of the season, that has been one of the weaknesses with this team. They've been struggling to get after the quarterback. Now, they faced some teams that had very good offensive lines, but most of the season, they were not able to generate much pressure throughout. Now, they have been looking better throughout the past couple of weeks. I'll give you that. They've been looking better, and it definitely looked very, very good last night. Starting with Kingsley Anambre with 2 sacks. Both of them came into one drive. In fact, he actually made 3 plays. 2 out of the 3 plays in one drive alone, this guy made an impact. It was the Anambre drive right there. So definitely amazing for him. Outside of him, Rashawn Gary got another sack. He's been coming along lately. Brenton Cox, one of the rotational pass rushers, he had a sack in that game. Devontae Wyatt, he had a sack in this game. Carl Brooks also had a sack. And the guy who made his comeback after missing the past few weeks with the hamstring, Edgerrin Cooper, the rookie middle linebacker, he also had a sack. Not only did he have a sack, he had 2 tackles for a loss, 2 passes batted down, 7 total tackles, and he also had an interception. And he was still playing in a limited number of snaps, which is just absolutely insane to me. I do not understand why the Packers keep giving him limited amount of snaps. Well, you can clearly put him as your starting linebacker now. especially after the injury to Quay Walker, since he's probably going to miss some time with that ankle injury. So if I'm running the Packers right now, start Edgerrin Cooper. He's literally been our best linebacker so far throughout the whole season, and clearly it showed that throughout the whole game and even other games when he was out there on the field. He might be the best linebacker we have ever had here in a very, very long time. He's really that good. Thank God we finally got ourselves a good inside linebacker that we have been looking for years upon years upon years. But anyways, great pass rush for this Packers defense, even though it's the Seahawks offensive line, but still, love to see that from our pass rush. And by the way, it's not just one interception. We also had 2 interceptions. Now, one of them was from Geno Smith. Unfortunately for Geno Smith, he was not able to make it through the whole game because late in the third quarter, unfortunately for him, he got injured as he was getting pressured. It was that leg injury that he suffered there, man. So prayers to Geno Smith. You never want to see anybody getting injured this badly. So hopefully he can make a comeback for the Seattle Seahawks. So yeah, prayers to him to see if he can make it back out there for his team. But since he was out in the third quarter of that game, Sam Howell had to come in. And you saw the impact that it made for the Seahawks offense. It did not turn out to be very, very good at all. And that's how Edgerrin Cooper got his interception. From Sam Howell, threw it right to his hands through Edgerrin Cooper. So another interception was thrown by Geno Smith, and it landed onto Carrington Valentine. Shout out to him getting his first NFL career interception. You love to see that. What's very impressive about this defense, this was without probably our best defenders, obviously Jair Alexander, who has been out for a number of weeks, and Javon Bullard, who has become a rising star in that slot. Now, he's always been a strong safety, but he's also very, very versatile. So, even without those 2 guys, the Packers defense were still able to limit this Seahawks offense. So, you look at the numbers for the Seahawks offense. Normally, I would go with the Packers offense, but let's take a look at the Seahawks offense first. So, Geno Smith, he completed 15 out of 19 passes with 149 yards, no touchdowns, and 1 interception, and he was sacked 3 times. And then again, Sam Howell had to come in because Geno was injured. He completed 5 out of 14, 24 yards, no touchdowns, and an interception. And he was sacked 4 times in that game. So, very unfortunate for the Seattle Seahawks, seeing that Geno Smith was injured. Sam Howell had to come in and turned out to not be very, very good. And they even did a decent job in the running game. Now, it's not a lot, but the Seahawks did average 5 yards per carry. So, Zach Combane, he only carried the ball 8 times with 54 yards and a touchdown. Geno Smith even ran the ball once for just 5 yards. Overall, as a team, the Seahawks ran the ball 16 times for 80 yards and 5 yards per carry. So, yards per carry is definitely not great, but only 80 yards rushing right there. I can definitely take that. And you look at the receivers for the Seattle Seahawks. Jackson Smith-Njigba was the leading receiver with 10 catches for 83 yards. DK Metcalf, 3 catches for 28 yards. And for seeing these stats right here without some of our best defenders, that's very, very impressive. And our quarterback, which looks like haven't been very good there recently, Eric Stokes and Carrington Valentine, they did a pretty good job on those guys, in which I thought it was going to be a problem for us. But I'll tell you what, if these 2 guys continues to play the way, or at least one of them, if one of those guys or 2 guys continue to play the way that they did last night, then boy, that's an improvement right there. And once Jair Alexander comes back, we could be looking at one of the more underrated cornerback groups in the league. Very, very shocking to see what these cornerbacks did against this Seahawks wide receivers. All right, now we get to talk about the Packers offense. All right, so we're going to start with Mr. Jordan Love. He completed 20 out of 27 passes, 229 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. This is the 4th game in a row that Jordan Love has not thrown an interception. And I already mentioned this before, and I'll say it again. We're starting to see that stretch when Jordan Love has not thrown an interception very late into the season. So that looks very, very amazing to see, coming at the right time with the playoffs. Coming in the coming weeks. And then Josh Jacobs, he had 26 carries for 94 yards and a touchdown. Not a great yards per game. He averaged 3.6 yards per carry. Now, he looked very, very good in the first half of that game, but then, and then the third quarter happened. The Seahawks like, all right, that's enough of the Josh Jacobs stuff. Now we're not going to allow him go nowhere at all. In fact, I think he only had 1 total yard of rushing in the third quarter, which is like a wow right there. But most of that was because that the Packers offense was very stagnant there in the second half. So the first half, the offense looked very, very good. But in the second half, they kind of stalled. And what's really infuriating to me is that the Packers keep going into shotgun on these 3rd and 1 and these short 4th downs. They're literally running the ball with Josh Jacobs when you know the Seahawks are not going to fall for that. Why not just do a play action, throw it on the flat to a tight end or flat to a wide receiver or whatever you want to call it? You would have done that rather than running up the ball straight up the middle when you know it hasn't been working. It's not going to work. The Seahawks wouldn't be fooled by this. Anyways, very infuriating about that. But outside of that, I definitely like what the offense did throughout most of the game. As for the receivers, Christian Watson was the leading receiver with 3 catches for 56 yards. Josh Jacobs also had some catches in there as well. 4 catches for 42 yards. Romeo Doubs making his return after suffering a concussion the past 2 games, I want to say. He had 2 touchdowns, including that second one, using those strong hands, like these man hands that he has. I mean, that boy has been in that weight room. You can talk about that first touchdown where he literally was just trucking that defender. I'm just, get out of my way. And he literally just pushed that defender going into the end zone for that touchdown. Man, oh man. That's a grown man right there. And then that second touchdown that he had, that boy got hands, boy. That boy got them hands, boy. 2 of the 3 catches were absolutely amazing. 3 catches for 40 yards and the 2 touchdowns I mentioned earlier. Tucker Kraft, 2 catches for 34 yards. He even caught one when Jordan Love was under pressure. Kind of looked like he was throwing out for grass, but Tucker Kraft went up and able to make that catch. So what a play that was for Tucker Kraft. I feel like this offense would have looked even more dominant if it wasn't for those shotgun plays and the backfield and those running plays. But we still able to put up 30 points, especially against the Seahawks defense, as they have been looking better and better lately since that bye week. And this is the first time that the Seahawks lost a game since that bye week. So now there is another downside, and this is a big downside for this. Because since that the Packers beat the Seahawks, those purple incarnation of Satan, the Minnesota Vikings, have officially clinched a playoff berth thanks to the Packers being the Seattle Seahawks. Now, they were going to be in the playoffs anyway, so I guess I shouldn't be that surprised here, but still, it would have been better to see those purple incarnations not go into the playoffs at all. Earlier in the night, they were able to take care of business against the Chicago Bears, so that means now they're tied with the Lions and the Eagles for the #1 seed. Who would have thought that the Vikings would be in the position that they're in right now? Like, what? Now, we'll see what happens when it comes to the playoffs time. Then we're going to see how good this Vikings team really, really is. But right now, we'll worry about the Vikings in another time. Because right now, we have a Monday Night Football game against the New Orleans Saints at home. Hopefully, we'll be able to take care of business, and then we will focus on the Minnesota Vikings. It's just going to take one game at a time. Do not look past our next opponent, because if we do, then that was going to be some problems. But overall, great win for the Green Bay Packers against our familiar rival and the Seattle Seahawks. It definitely feels great to see the Packers be able to get the job done against the Seahawks in Seattle. And I don't remember when the last time the Packers have beaten the Seahawks in their building, because normally it's always the home teams that always gets the job done between the Seahawks and the Packers. Every time that the Seahawks play against the Packers at home, the Seahawks always beats them. Every time that the Packers are at home against the Seahawks, they always get the win. Until last night, as the Packers have officially snapped that streak as they won on the road against the Seattle Seahawks. So, you gotta love that. Gotta love that win over the Seattle Seahawks. And I'm looking forward to see if the Packers will be able to clinch the playoffs against the Saints. But there you go. Those are my thoughts on the Green Bay Packers' dominant win against the Seattle Seahawks. What are your thoughts about that game? You can put your comments down below. I would love to know. And as usual, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, and also please subscribe. And until next time, this is Cam chillin', and I am signing off. Peace.